Hello, my Bell 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We're back with another Coffeehouse Crime. This one is titled The Disturbed Boy That Murdered His Model Sister, The Case of Azumi Muto. The title intrigued me. Like, was she a supermodel type model, or was she like a model child type model? Like, did no wrong whatsoever. Because those brothers and sisters get annoying. If you don't have one, you probably are the one. All right, let's get into that story. I'm excited. Go ahead, turn the minds down low, put on something comfy, cup of something special. Grab you a cup of coffee, cause for Coffee House Crime, you need it. It's an emotional roller coaster, up and down, up and down. It's left and right, slippery when wet. Let's get into today's story.
Tradition and expectations run deep within a family. And although these two things are often meant in good faith, the immense pressure put on children can sometimes hold dire consequences. But in January of 2007, a gruesome discovery.
I never really thought about tradition and stuff. Now, I imagine like back in the day, tradition was a big thing because you had the stuff for the girls where they are presented the whatever the hell it's called. Hillian? Is that what it is? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck it is. So we have tradition. It's just not like enforced. I was raised up very non-traditional. I very well got to do whatever I wanted to an extent. My parents felt like that it was better for me to get all the dumb out of my system whenever I was younger than whenever I was older. I didn't. I was There was a lot of dumb in there. Let's just
Would shock the residents of Shibuya and those further afar. And as the case's details unfolded, many were left with disgust. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, folks. My name is Adrian, and welcome back to another video by Coffeehouse Crime. Today we're looking at the case of Azumi Muto. This video pulls us back to Japan.
Holy fuck balls, Batman! I got the pronunciation right. Azumi Muto. Oh, fuck it up.
And this story in particular shocked many people across the nation. But what exactly happened to Azumi and Yukimoto? And of course, just to let you know that I post solved, unsolved, and strange cases here weekly. So if that's your kind of thing, please consider subscribing to Coffeehouse Crime.
I already did, and if you haven't, you really should. He has some very interesting stories.
So please, grab yourself a coffee, pull up a seat, and sit back. This is the case of Azumi Muto. Ohayo gozaimasu. Welcome back to the beautiful and vibrant country of Japan, folks. Famous for Mount Fuji, cherry blossoms, and its many Inari shrines.
So fucking pretty. I swear they have some of the most beautiful culture ever. Truly, truly do. And it's all got a story. I love that.
Japan is a country that is full of many breathtaking sights. And blending quaint traditionalism with modern elegance, the country does very well to offer the best of both worlds.
See, I don't even know the principle on pouring the tea water around like that. But that seems like there's a story there.
Today we're travelling to the ever-sprawling megacity of Tokyo, which is very easily one of the brightest, busiest, and most vibrant of cities on the planet. Tokyo is full to the brim of things to do, from jaw-dropping visual exhibitions from TeamLab, through to magnificent Japanese temples. You're exposed to a wide variety of activities.
And that's another thing, like they blend their like above and beyond technology in quite well with their natural beauty that is Japan. Like, I don't know. I love their culture. It's I don't know. Like I said, it's like everything has a little story behind it. Like I know America's like that. I know theirs just seems a lot more ancient and just.
Activities that this city has to offer. And when it comes to foods, it gets even better. From luxurious rooftop bars down to small restaurants tucked away in quaint side streets, you will forever find new ways to indulge yourself. Now, one of the most famous and busiest districts in Tokyo is the ever-popular area of Shibuya. It is so busy, in fact, that it's home to the two busiest train stations in the world. And of course, I'm talking about Shinjuku and Shibuya. Shinjuku Station alone can see a whopping 3.6 million passengers a day.
I shook my
Busiest train
head.
station to indulge yourself.
Shit, I'm hitting wrong buttons left and fucking right. And I am sorry. Do this. Do this. We should be close. Don't quote me. I don't know what I was gonna say now. Man, I'm fucking up left and right today.
Is well known for being the busiest crossing in the world. It also offers fantastic shopping at Shibuya 109 and is a
Oh, I shook my head in acknowledgement like I knew what he was talking about. I did not. I've never been. I would love to go to Japan. I imagine I would have an amazing time. But it did look very busy.
6 million passengers a day. And Shibuya itself is well known for being the
That's
busiest crossing in the world.
so many people. I would be so claustrophobic. I don't know if I could go to Japan now. I'm sorry. I wouldn't be able to breathe. Be just curled up in the fetal position, holding my breath until everyone stops walking. I would die. I can't go.
It also offers fantastic shopping at Shibuya 109 and is a common meeting spot beside the statue of the ever-loyal Hachiko. Although Tokyo is a vast megacity that is home to a staggering 11% of Japan's population, it makes use of its excellent rail services.
I mean, that don't sound like a lot, but the 11% of a shit ton of people is a shit ton of people.
And advanced technological status to keep air pollution well below its recommended threshold. And of course, that's a great offset for the environment. And with the environment in mind, chipping in with today's sponsor, I wanted to ask you what you do with your life to be more environmentally sustainable. For me, one of those changes has been swapping out typical bathroom products for more sustainable options like Native. So, what can I say about Native? It's an
They're amazing. I use Native. Not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. Just, I use it. I like it. Goes on creamy. Smells amazing. Hasn't broke me out or anything. Really like it.
aluminium-free and paraben-free deodorant that is available in earth-friendly plastic-free packaging. It's vegan and cruelty-free, it dries quickly and is not sticky to use, and is made from familiar and simple ingredients such as coconut and shea butter. I've been using Native for a little over 2 months now, and honestly, I'm in love with their deodorant. Native also smells absolutely incredible. There's a wide variety of scents available, including sensitive options, and each scent offers you up to 72 hours of odor protection. My favourite one so far is the eucalyptus and mint, which is keeping me fresh through the summer heat. To add to this, Native offers limited edition summer seasonals too, such as Pina Colada and Lakeside Ginger Mule. They're only available until the end of summer, so get them now before they're gone. You save 37 grams of single-use plastic every time you choose Native's plastic-free deodorant. Native is a proud partner of 1% for the planet, and is committed to responsibly sourcing its paper. Now, 3 plastic-free deodorants would usually cost $39, but if you use my link and code Coffeehouse, you get them for $26 instead. That's over 33% off. And to add to this, you will also get 20% off any body wash or toothpaste. Don't forget to use the code Coffeehouse. Thank you to Native for sponsoring this video, and thank you to you guys for supporting us content creators. Now back to the case. It is here, tucked away in the back streets of Shibuya, that we find.
Yeah, I'm not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form. But I do like them. I do use Native, and I do like the product. It is amazing. It does go on creamy. Honestly, a very nice sensation when putting it on. Dries relatively fast. It does for the creamy feel that where it's going on. It's nice stuff. I like it.
the Muto Dental Clinic, a small family-run business owned by, you guessed it, the Muto family. The youngest of this prestigious family was 20-year-old Azumi Muto. Born on June 13th, 1986, Azumi had two older brothers, with the youngest of the two being 21-year-old Yuki Muto.
Kinda looks like a really old teddy bear that someone tried to wash and left in their dryer way too damn long. His head is way too foozy. Looks like he's just gonna go and fly away.
Both of their parents and their parents before them were dentists or health professionals of some kind. And in true Japanese fashion, the family expected Azumi and her siblings to follow in their footsteps. Wishing for their children to eventually take over the family health clinic, it's obvious that they would then want it to be passed on to their future grandchildren.
That's fair. You know, whatever your parents do, you should do too. That way it just saves time and effort. You just when one dies, you replace them. That way, you know, it's just a constant conveyor belt of shit. Don't step out the box. Don't drive in your own lane. Don't be who you want to be. Be what your parents are, because you know. Yeah. No. If someone looked at my dad whenever he was growing up and said, "Hey man, you want to like do stuff on YouTube?" and be like, "What the fuck is that?"
Too. Azumi's eldest brother, who remains unnamed, was already following in his parents' footsteps. He studied hard and managed to achieve top grades at Nihon University. This, of course, made his parents extremely proud. Now, if his younger siblings could follow suit, they would simply be over the moon. Alongside their dental business, the Muto family also owned a...
So, we have the golden child, which is the number one. Then we have the not so golden children. They are tied for second place right now. Just putting the information out there.
Number of real estate properties for rent, some of which they gave to their children to manage and direct. So, as you can probably tell, the family were very affluent, and none of the children would have to worry about money for the rest of their lives. Unless, of course, they were cut off. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here, as that was never going to happen in a professional and civilized family. Right? Well, that's what Azumi's and Yuki's parents also thought. You see, Yuki wasn't the brightest crayon in the box. He had started to academically fall behind his classmates. So, in order to improve his grades, they enrolled him into a nearby...
Aww. Makes me feel bad. He wasn't the brightest bulb in the bunch. Aww. This elevator didn't go all the way to the top floor. Aww. He is a few twigs shy of a cuckoo's nest. Aww. Poor thing.
prep school. But he still struggled to get high enough grades to qualify to apply for university, or even to qualify for graduating high school.
And you know that's gotta be hard because I'm not from Japan. I don't know a lot about Japan. But I know they do take their scholastics quite serious. Their schooling, their learning, their teaching. They do smart good. Important.
And as for their daughter Azumi, her passion was never really in dentistry. She hated the fate that her parents expected her to follow.
I don't blame her. I don't like mouths. I don't. I don't like the look in them. I wouldn't want to spend the rest of my life knuckles deep in someone's mouth hole. Ever. Oh.
And in Japan, this expectation to follow family tradition can be a very heavy burden on children. It's a rather systemic problem, and this expectation of young people is so prevalent that it severely affects the young population's mental health. This even sometimes creates recluses with no aspirations in life.
I mean, it's not like they're literally sitting there beating the shit out of them going, do good or die. I mean, they could be.
And as many of you may know, these people are known in Japan as hikikomori. It is also one of the reasons that Japan has a relatively high self-inflicted death rate, as people would rather die than be ashamed to their own families.
I could not be Japanese. I don't give a damn to be be ashamed of me. I don't even give a damn. I don't believe how often I'm ashamed of myself. Get in line.
Thinking about it, this is a really sad reality that the country faces. But Azumi was strong-willed, and although her parents pressured her to stay in the family business, she knew it was not for her. So instead, after high school, she studied computer programming and also aspired to become a model and an actor, much to her parents' dismay. Their pressure was so relentless that Azumi actually left her home at the age of 18 for several months in order to better focus on her new aspirations as an actor. This was not a surprise, as the house that the siblings grew up in was described as cold and unloving, and the pressure that these children faced from their parents often drove a rift between and within their generations, making them more like rivals than siblings. During this time, Azumi was filming for a low-budget adaptation of the anime Cream Lemon. The film was rated 15, making it a raunchy feature by Japanese standards, and you can probably see where this is going, but it went down horribly unwell with Azumi's parents. In the end, Azumi couldn't escape the
So she was basically doing like Skinamax, softcore pornographical videos. The kind of videos where, well, you probably really wouldn't have to put plastic down. It's softcore, but you know, please pull out the umbrellas. Yeah, I don't think any mommy and daddy is gonna be like, "Oh, my sweet little angel, she takes the pain so good, don't she, hon?" Yeah, no parent's gonna ever fucking say that.
cold family household. Money became an issue, and just a few months after leaving her family, she begrudgingly returned. But her parents would reluctantly allow her to continue studying programming, and even allowed her to work her modelling jobs from home. The family were, surprisingly, just happy to have her back. That was all of them,
Out of the porn light. Out of the limelight.
except her brother Yuki.
I don't know why his video keeps freezing on me so bad here lately, but they all have been doing it.
Although Azumi was smart and succeeding in her chosen path, away from family tradition, Yuki's ambitions were going in the opposite direction. Not only did he want to pursue dentistry, but he also wanted to please his parents too. However, sadly, he was not able to keep up with his studies. While growing up, he was told that he would inherit the family dentistry and do great things for his family. And this of course put great pressure on him to do his parents and grandparents proud. And yet, here was his sister, smart enough to do what he couldn't, but still turning her back on family tradition. While he tried so hard for his parents' approval, she simply didn't care. And Azumi could feel the hate
Well, we just can't have that kind of shit. You just be like, you listen here, you son of a bitch. I gotta be treated like shit and care about it. You need to care about it too. You're not the only one that don't want to do this shit. You're smart. You could at least try. I got it.
coming from Yuki. She knew that her brother was not fond of her, and this scared her greatly. Azumi often told her friends
I mean, hold on. Look at the mug. Yeah, see it. Yeah, see it. Yeah, see it. I would be. I wouldn't. I was gonna say I'd sleep with one eye open, but I wouldn't fucking sleep in the same house as that creepy looking motherfucker right there. I wouldn't. He looks like a criminal. Like, pull out a Batman comic book and look at it. Look at a bad guy, and then look at his face. Yeah, I'll give you, man. Go ahead, do it. You can pull up a bad guys off of Batman. I don't mean like the Joker and Scarecrow. I mean like the henchman. Right there. That motherfucker right there. He look evil.
that Yuki creeped her out. She could never tell what he was thinking, and to add to this, he had a strange demeanor to him. Getting uncomfortable
Motherfucker probably don't want to know what the hell he's thinking. Look at him. Derpy looking little shit. Creepy too. It's like he's not. It's like he's looking into my soul. It's just a picture.
for just a moment, but by the way that he stared at her, She knew that his thoughts were never good or pure. Another friend also claimed that Yuki's feelings towards Azumi were much worse than just a typical brother-sister relationship. This is just speculation by his friends, but apparently, he at times had talked about her with disgusting thoughts on his mind. At school, Yuki was seen as a rather awkward loner. He didn't have many friends, and mainly kept to himself in his bedroom at home. And despite this, very little did Yuki's parents know that there was a rage slowly growing within their son. A rage that was ready to boil over.
Boy's about to lose his shit, ain't he?
December the 30th, 2006. The new year was fast approaching, and in Japan, their various...
Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about with Coffeehouse Crime, because I feel slightly bad for the derpy-looking henchman brother. That is a lot of pressure to put on him, especially when he knows for a fact in his brain, 100% for sure, that he's dumb. And I'm not just saying he's dumb because he might be dumb or anything, but he has dead set in his mind that he's dumb, that his other two siblings are smarter than he is, smarter than he could be, smarter than he will ever be. And now the parents are like, yeah, you need to take over the family business, child. Oh shit, you're gonna give it to me? I'm fucking stupid. I'm gonna ruin everything and everyone's gonna hate me. I don't want that shit. That's a lot of stress and pressure. So I do feel bad for him, but I don't feel bad enough to not run my mouth about him whenever he gets in trouble for killing his sister, because I'm pretty sure that's... But at least now we know what kind of model. She wasn't a model child. The first one was the model child. She was third place. The dummy was in second. That's pretty bad.
New Year's traditions were just around the corner. Different from the rest of the world, these traditions often include visiting shrines to pay respects, show appreciation, and wish for good health and fortune in the coming year. The Muto family were no different in this instance. They readied up for their New Year's traditions, ready to pay their respects. Or, at least some of them were. While the parents and eldest brother had travelled to Fukushima to visit extended family, Azumi and Yuki decided to stay at home instead. Azumi simply had no desire to go, while Yuki, on the other hand, had a study camp scheduled over the New Year's break. But the very night before they left, Azumi, Yuki, and the mother had unfortunately
Azumi's a sister, so the boy's got the other name. Fuck.
argued, and of course the topic was about tradition and how they were not progressing in life. The atmosphere of that fight was still thick in the air, even after the majority of the family had left, and with Azumi and Yuki left alone in the house, both of them remained upset. Now, Japanese folks are known to be reserved.
So is Azumi the girl? Azumi's the girl, right? I don't know.
And they often keep their real thoughts and feelings to themselves.
Well, that's not good. You shouldn't bottle that shit up, bud. Unless it's like right in the pit of your stomach, you know, where ulcers can take care of them.
This is especially pertinent for women, but Azumi wasn't like the other girls.
No, she did softcore porn.
As she would often share her truthful opinions, which most of the time were not appreciated. And Azumi was no different in this instance either. She was still reeling from the argument the night before, and entering Yuki's bedroom, she planned to confront him over the many things he had said. After all, although their mother...
So that derpy looking shit is Yuki. Yuki Muto. That name sounds familiar. And I know you're probably thinking I'm gonna make a joke about Yu-Gi-Oh or something, but the name sounds familiar. Yukimoto. I don't know. He's still derpy.
Had sided with Yuki, she was no longer here anymore. Yuki told his sister that he was ashamed of her and that she shouldn't be a part of the family anymore, and this of course infuriated Azumi. As the argument quickly reignited, Azumi shouted at Yuki, telling him that he would never amount to anything worthwhile, that he lacked ambition, and that he'd be left with nothing. And tragically, this made him snap in a fit of rage. He grabbed his wooden kendo sword and then began to repeat.
Yeah, that was probably not the best thing to say to him. Motherfucker's already stressed from at home back, thinking he's gonna ruin the family business. And his softcore porn sister's like, "You piece of shit, you're never gonna amount to a damn thing." And he's just like, "She knows my deepest fear, she must die."
Repeatedly strike it across Azumi's face.
Oh god.
As Azumi fought back, Yuki's beatings became harder, faster, and stronger. He desperately wanted her to shut up, and that was no matter what it took. January the 3rd, 2007.
Damn.
The Muto family were ready to return home and get back to work after the New Year's holiday. Good timing, as they were starting to grow worried. Azumi had been radio silent ever since shortly before the New Year. And as for Yuki, he was relatively quiet too. Saying that, shortly before they got home, he did message his parents to warn them of a foul smell. Apparently, his fish had died shortly before he left for school, and he had not yet disposed of it. He therefore asked them not to enter his room. However, upon returning home, the stench was so overwhelming that they simply couldn't ignore it. And so his grandfather, Mamoru, offered to go in and clean up the dead fish. But after entering his room, it was obvious to see that the loan shark fish he kept in his tank was very much alive and still swimming around.
Yay,
This
fishy!
was odd because there was definitely a smell coming from somewhere. Looking around,
Why does it smell like fish? It's from the softcore porn days.
Mamoru found the smell emanating from the closet, and opening the door, he was met with a pile of stacked garbage bags, and the smell coming from them was horrendous. Upon cutting open one of these bags came the sight of flesh and a lot of blood, and stumbling back in shock, Mamoru and the rest of the family called the police immediately. Tragically, the body inside the bag was identified to be Azumi, and expecting that Yuki had something to do with this, the family waited for him to return home before the police arrested him. When the news broke, tabloids erupted with speculation, claiming that apparently he was a necrophile and a cannibal. The police would ultimately deny.
Well, I don't. Necrophile? Is that someone who, dead people? And a cannibal? Did he eat her?
These claims, minus the incestuous ones. Yuki folded and confessed to authorities almost. Apparently, he was a necrophile and a cannibal. The police would ultimately deny these claims, minus the incestuous ones.
So he didn't eat her, but he. That's grody.
Yuki folded and confessed to authorities almost immediately, and after breaking down in the interrogation room, he shared the grisly details of his crime.
Oh god.
After beating his sister with his kendo sword, he grabbed a nearby towel and wrapped it around her neck. With white knuckles, he held this for a total of 3 minutes, counting from 1 to 180 in the process. To his dismay, Azumi was still breathing after this, so instead, he dragged her to the bathroom before pushing her head underwater. And this, after being beaten and strangled, sadly ended her life. After a short breather, Yuki cleaned the crime scene, and next he made his way to the kitchen where he grabbed a knife from the counter. He then collected a saw and returned to the bathroom, and there he removed his sister's clothes and began to dismember her body. Yuki left almost nothing intact, and horrifyingly, he would even take the knife to his sister's most intimate areas. After removing these parts from her body, he then put these into a garbage bag, where he then took the bag to the kitchen and ran it through the garbage disposal. Yuki then bagged the rest of her body into heavy-duty garbage bags, where he then stored them in his own bedroom cabinet, under the fish tank, and even in his sister's bedroom. Since most Japanese bathrooms are essentially wet rooms, Yuki was able to effectively clean the entire scene with ease, simply taking the shower's head to the walls and floor. After he was satisfied with this cleaning, he then packed his bag.
Well, that's kind of convenient, though. Japanese bathrooms, definitely a place where you want to kill people.
Bags full of clothes and study gear, ready to go to a study camp later that day. After this, he then added a pair of his sister's panties into his own bag, and after leaving the house, her remains were left in the property undiscovered for several days. Yuki's defense tried to prove that Yuki was not.
Why did he take her breeches? Why did he take her underoos? Why did he take her pantaloons? Why did he?
Mentally capable of understanding his crime, and could not tell the difference between right
A fucking fucked up looking, frumpy looking motherfucker? No, probably not.
and wrong. After being examined by a psychiatrist,
I mean, he fucked. He fucked up. He's a fucked individual. That's what the therapist said. They's like, no. See him? See that fella right there? See that fella over there with the glasses on? Well, that fella right there with the derpy looking face, he fucked up. It's fucked.
he was found not to be mentally stable during the time he had murdered his sister. Specialists would argue that he had diminished capacity prior to the crime, and he was criminally insane during the moments he was mutilating her body. Needless to say, his defense insisted that due to this, he should not be held legally responsible for his actions. But prosecutors denied this motion, and believed that the bad blood between them was a strong enough motive to kill Azumi.
Yes.
Yuki was therefore charged with the murder of Azumi Muto, and further was charged for the desecration of a corpse. Fast forward a little over 1 year, and in May of 2008, Yuki Muto was found guilty of the murder. For all of this, he was given a grand total of only 8 years in prison. He was acquitted of the desecration charge on the grounds May of 2008, Yuki Muto was found guilty of the murder. For all of this, he was given a grand total of only 8 years in prison.
Is he saying 8? 8 years or 80 years? I'm gonna just.
Yuki Muto was found guilty of the murder. For all of this, he was given a grand total of only 8 years in prison. He was
It's 8 years. That's a mentally disturbed crime. I'm hearing that right. I know I fucking am.
charged for the desecration of a corpse. Fast forward a little over 1 year, and in May of 2008, Yuki Muto was found guilty of the murder.
He was found guilty of the murder, not the desecration charges.
For all of this, he was given a grand total of only 8 years in prison.
That's 8 years. 8 years. It's not who you know, it's who you blow.
He was acquitted of the desecration charge on the grounds that he had diminished mental responsibility. This was despite Yuki giving a perfect.
Because he's a dum-dum? That's bullshit. Bro, I can act stupider than fuck. Believe that. I don't believe none of it. I think he's guilty. Of everything. Altogether. I think he knew what he was doing. And he's just a piece of shit.
account of
He was a turd under pressure.
what exactly happened leading up to his crime. And he further showed that he had a clear memory of the murder and knew exactly what he was doing. So fortunately, the Tokyo High Court found this to be reason enough to retract his initial sentencing. They changed his guilty verdict to that of murder and desecration, changing his sentence from 8 years to 12, which, if you ask me, is still a very lenient sentence.
You can murder someone and do everything that fucked up individual did and only get 12 years? That's why everyone gets along with everyone in Japan. Because if not, they could just kill you and they'd be back out in like no time.
Now, I often say this while covering Japanese true crime, but Japan in general tends to be a very safe place to
Because everyone's scared to be killed by someone else. Bro, I don't fuck with me today. I will fucking cut your head off and I will probably only get 6 months. I'll fucking do it. I need a vacation from this place anyways.
live. Saying that, all stories from here tend to be wild. And here's another reason why. During his trial, Yuki's parents bought the best lawyers that money could buy. And surprisingly, this was for his defense, as they accepted his horrific actions. During this trial, they also described how often Azumi insulted her brother, how quiet and kind he was, and how much he disappointed them. And I feel that pretty much sums up Azumi's parents. Despite her being murdered and dismembered in her very own home, they turned their backs on her in court. Yuki Muto was due for release in the year 2021, which means that he's out there walking the streets of Tokyo as I speak right now. And all in the meanwhile, Azumi lost her life. The Muto family were torn apart due to Yuki's seemingly impulsive actions. And although Yuki wanted to follow family traditions, he ironically removed the possibility for both Azumi and himself. Azumi never wanted to pave her way forward in the family business, but those who were supposed to love her unconditionally resented her for it. And eventually, she was cruelly murdered for this positive trait. In Japan, there is an immense pressure to honor your family, and this expectation can be unbearable for many. So it does beg the question, if there wasn't so much negative reinforcement from their parents, would Yuki have killed his sister? Or was something much more sinister at play?
I don't think anything would have changed that. I just think he just truly hated her. I get that the pressure played a role in it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong at all. The pressure definitely played a role in it. But I am pretty sure he just generally fucking hated her. I mean, I get that. I understand. You don't have to like everyone, and even your family. You don't have to like all of them. I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but you don't have to. You know, what I mean, it's your choice, your decision. But I generally think he just hated her. I don't think anything would have changed that in any way, shape, or form. I truly don't.
Sadly, we will never know. So I think that pretty much wraps up today's case, folks. Thank you so much for watching another video today by Coffeehouse Crime. If you found this case...
I did, and thank you. That's sad, though. I mean, I do, like I said, I do think pressure that the family put them under did play a little bit in it, but I don't, I think it would have happened either way, even without the pressure. I do. But honestly, if it wasn't for the pressure, from the time that they was born, that's another thing. Like the pressure that the family put on all of them to just be something that they didn't want to be or knew they couldn't be, that pressure played a big part in it. Because if they wasn't pushing them, they would have never came to that situation. That's the only reason why I say that. So I believe that pressure was harder than any of the rest of it. That's just my opinion. Opinions like assholes. Everyone's got one. Everyone thinks it smells good, and the only one that does smell good is mine. It smells like roses. Roses. But it's sad that she lost her life. And instead of not even disowning the boy that murdered your other child, just you're not holding him reliable. Like, I know the court's holding him reliable, but the parents are making excuses. Oh, his sister was so mean to him. Who gives a fuck? He didn't need to die. Like, 3 different ways. Strangling, drowning, what was the other one? I don't fucking remember. Oh my god. Hmm. I enjoyed it though. I mean, it was a very good story. Kind of like sibling rivalry, extreme, the double XL burrito shit. All right. If y'all enjoyed today's story as much as I did, please leave a thumbs up if you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange, weird ass stories about demented brother sister relationships that end up in murder. Think about subscribing. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Man, that was fucked up. I don't give a damn what anyone says. I'm pretty sure he would have killed his sissy. I don't think. I think the want was there, just period, in general. He was born to murder.